everybody. And this word works on two different levels, okay? So cacophony, we're going to kind of take it one at a time. Go ahead, screen's facing forward, everybody, who's not, other than my creative writing 2 kids. Screen's facing forward, screen's facing forward. So this is a real life word. So we're going to talk about the real life application of cacophony first, okay? So, and Ollie, see, screen facing forward. If you said that something is a cacophony, it basically is a fancy way of saying, oh my gosh, this is loud and crazy. So I could say, like, obviously that picture that is moving is an alarm clock, you could say, is very cacophonous. Levi, screen facing forward. So that's making a lot of noise. It's a harsh, jarring sound. Especially, it's extra cacophonous when it's a bunch of noises all together. So if you look at examples, real life examples, every time I walk past the band room, I love that because there's cacophony being, right, spilling into the commons. It's just a blend of inharmonious sounds. Same with any assembly, usually. The lunchroom, always, right? Stuff like that. If you go to Lagoon is full of cacophony. There's a bunch of noises all mixed together, okay? So let's look at a real life example before we talk about, this is also a literary term, but it works on 2 different levels here. So this is kind of a weird example. I did this when I was back in my 6 years of choir in middle and high school. This is called the Jabberwocky, and it has a really interesting history. I'm going to kind of talk over it as it happens. So, obviously, this is a chorus. They took a really famous poem that was called the Jabberwocky. And the Jabberwocky was part of the original Alice in Wonderland. But the original is pretty weird. And the Jabberwocky was this mythical creature. And so this epic poem is about this fight, this battle that's happening with the Jabberwocky. So that's the background of, like, what are they actually singing. But listen to the noise of this song. This is not really normal in the choir world. The song itself is pretty weird. And at one point there's, like, screaming. At different points, they all have different, like, musical weird instruments. It's definitely a cacophony. We've got a bunch of sounds blended together. Let me skip ahead and see see how much it changes. So, that's the real life. It's a fancy way of describing what we're hearing, right? This is a good part, too. Cacophony. Okay, so that's enough of that one. Then, it works on, if I'm being really honest, like, I would be shocked out of my mind, to tell you the truth. If any of you can, when I let you turn around your screens, which is not yet, if any of you can do this level of cacophony, it is very advanced, but some of you are super with it, and you can probably handle this. So look right here in the definition where it says the creative writing trick. So when you have cacophony in creative writing specifically, it's when you have a really unique, awkward sounding combination of consonants and vowels. I'm going to say that again. That's a very intense definition. And then I'll screen face support now that you're in there. So a unique, awkward sounding combination of consonants and vowels. So when you think consonant, that's anything that's not a vowel. Vowels are A, E, I, O, U. Okay? So as a creative writer, if I'm purposefully putting words together that are a really weird blend, that are kind of like tongue twisters, I would say, are the easiest way of wrapping your brain around this, but they definitely get way more fancy. So I'm going to show you some examples of the creative writing version of cacophony because it is a much more advanced level of a literary term, like I said. So let's start with, I was watching The Office last night, and then I was like, yes, this is the perfect clip for my vocab lesson tomorrow. This is what we mean of a specific focus on consonants and vowels and purposely picking words that are going to stand out in my story. Hello. Okay.
That's why they call it bird, not duck.
So not the countertop, but just this drawer, if at all possible. I was hoping it can have a lock, and if not, it's not the end of the world. Yes, yep. I need to have Chromebooks and stuff locked up in there. We're gonna watch that one more time, guys. Yep, just this one. Yeah.
That's why they call
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Not
Okay, so that's a very short and weird example of cacophony, but that's what we're saying. Like, that, he kind of has a point too, right? That the vowel there is specific, like the consonant, I mean, yeah. Jasper.
So in theory, if it's just a mix of random vowels,
Mm-hmm.
if it could just be like any D&D name.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, often names are cacophonous, yeah. Especially if it was a very purposeful blend. So let's listen to another one. And for those of you who did this fast finisher, we won't watch this whole thing, we'll just watch a little bit. But this is kind of like a weird poem, sort of. It's kind of nonsensical, to be really honest with you. There's not a lot of sense here. But it's partly alliteration, partly tongue twister. Gentle reminder, remember in morning announcements, if you have earpods, AirPods, phones, all of that, I'm supposed to be taking. Okay, so that's kind of a weird one. Let's watch another one, because I'm trying to help you wrap your brain around this. This explains a little bit more the literary term of cacophony.
Have you ever stopped to consider the feeling created by your words? Even if written words generate an atmosphere of sounds for the reader, a cacophony is a blend of unharmonious sounds.
Heads up, they're actually incorrect. It is actually inharmonious, which I know is weird, but yeah, just so you know, that's wrong.
The word originates from Greek, actually meaning that sound. An example of a cacophony in real life would be like dishes crashing on the floor, or horns blaring and people yelling in a traffic accident. In literature, writers use cacophony as a purposeful technique to set up a harsh and jarring scene for the reader. Certain consonants and vowels, when written close together, will sound unpleasant or awkward, which can make reading the words uncomfortable. This can also make it difficult or awkward to read. An easy example would be tongue twisters. She sells seashells down by the seashore. While the purpose of this is simply to be difficult to read or say, cacophony in literature is a device used to add emotional depth to the moment. Because poems oftentimes rely on musical
it obviously cut off right there, and then I have an example. So, often you'll see cacophony in poems specifically, but it's definitely not only for poems. This one is Edgar Allan Poe, who is known for really pushing the boundaries and doing some very avant-garde stuff. But his poem, The Bells, he purposely chose words that are cacophonous. So I'll just read a tiny bit of it. Hear the sledges with the bells, silver bells. What a world of merriment their melody foretells. How they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle in the icy air of night. When the stars that oversprinkle all the heavens seem to twinkle with crystalline delight. So that was purposeful to make it sound kind of weird. So if you here's the trick, guys. Honestly, if you want to make something stand out, there's all sorts of ways to do it in creative writing. But for example, if I was writing a name that I really wanted to get stuck in the reader's mind, or if I really want this one really cool line to stand out, I would purposely be thinking of the words that I'm using and the sound of those words. What would you, and this is a weird question, what would you say is the most aggressive sounding letter? R, G, what else? I would say K, C, and V. If you purposely put a lot of K, C's, and V's in your writing, it's going to make it stand out because of the cacophony. So, that being said, I have one more funny example, just because, again, this seems really weird and really obscure, but how many of you know Brian Regan? Lots of us. I love him. And he used cacophony, the word, in one of his jokes. So I'm going to play this tiny, tiny clip, and then we'll be done. But this is him. Do you guys know what the TV show The View is? It's like a talk show. A bunch of ladies just yapping together. So he made a joke about that using cacophony.
It's sort of like watching The View. I like The View. I like the women on The View. I just want to hear them one at a time. It's hard to pierce through the cacophony.
Boom. See, so it's a real life word. It's not as weird as you think. And the last thing I'll say, and it connects back to that Jabberwocky that we started with that choir. So when I had to learn that song in choir, it really, the tongue twister of the Cacophony was kind of tough. Here's some of the words of that song. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toads did guile and gimble in the way. Like, some of those are obviously nonsense words, right? But they pop out and they stand out because of the Cacophony. So, for the You Try box, you are allowed to do one of two things. Number one, you can think of the real life example, right? Places that definitely have Cacophony going on. If you want to be extra impressive, do one of the creative writing versions. And I don't care which one you do. So go ahead and do that You Try box, everybody. Yeah. I would say that definitely there are some Shakespearean writings that have Cacophony. It's better if you can think of a specific one, but yes, often he would make stuff pop with this trick of Cacophony. Yeah. Say again. Yes, thank you for reminding me. We were about to do that. And then, if anybody has an example you want to share, if not, I get it, because this is a tough one. Yeah.
So, like, in the Legend of Zelda, like, music with all the music, you can, like, pick up those, like, pots, and when you show them, they shatter.
Right. Shattering is a cacophony. Yes, for sure. That sound is a real-life cacophony. Good. What else?
A war, an explosion.
Yes, the sound of war or battle would definitely be very cacophonous. Any others? Okay, cool. That gives you enough to steal and go turn it in. And then we only have one more after that, guys.